Hey everybody, I can't talk long. I'm actually on my way to Dortmund for the first European regional event of this new 2025 season, but don't worry, you still got Pokemon Go updates, you still got updates from the other games. I just enlisted the help of some of my friends. So take it away, Speedy.
What's up everybody, I'm here to talk about everything happening in competitive Pokemon Go this week. As you know, the Psychic Cup just ended on Tuesday. We got a big league rotation. Psychic Cup is gone, and honestly, not very sad about it. The best part, in my opinion, was that Tonton Batus was able to take Shadow Draft Rig all the way to number 1, which is absolutely stellar. In terms of Spotlight Hours and Raid Hours, we had Machop this week, which can be pretty good because Shadow Machamp is actually quite solid in the Open Great League and Ultra League as well, but I think we might see a few of those in Dortmund and Joinville this weekend. More on that later. In terms of raid hours, we had Groudon. Groudon is a powerful Master League Pokemon. However, it's definitely been overshadowed by some other ground types in the meta, most notably Landorus and Rhyperior. Side note, the upcoming Spotlight Hour is Pidove with 2x transfer candy, which is a huge one for me personally because I always hoard stuff, I always trade stuff. This is a great time to transfer a bunch of Pokemon and clear out that space. In terms of raids, Mega Houndoom and Groudon are both leaving the raid rotation. In lieu of them, we are going to get Mega Gardevoir and the debut of Shiny Zacian. I'll say it again, Shiny Zacian, a bit of a tongue twister, but that is a beautiful shiny, going to be really, really fun to collect. And as a slight reminder, Shadow Raikou is leaving Shadow Raids on the 29th. In terms of in-person events, we're heading back to South Korea for Safari Zone. Some pretty, I guess expected spawns, something that you would see in other Safari Zones, but the real notable one here for me is Skidoo, #GiveGoGoat Rockslide. As I alluded to earlier, Go Battle League has switched over to Open Great League, Open Ultra League, and Open Master League. This kicks off 2 weeks of Great League, and we are going to get the Great League Galar Cup next week as well. And make sure to get those sets in because there's still a Stardust bonus for that first game win. In terms of play Pokemon, again, we've got Dortmund in EU and Joinville in LATAM. I'm really excited to see what these trainers are going to do because this is the first regional for each of these regions this season. Obviously, we've only had Baltimore so far in North America. If the max out meta is a train, Clodsire is the engine. It is powering everything, a whopping 75% overall usage in the top cut in Baltimore. But the trains behind the Clodsire engine are more of a mystery. I think that Mandibuzz is on fraud watch. Jumpluff has been outed as a total fraud. Don't touch it. Don't go anywhere near it. But I'm really excited to see how many Galarian Moltres, Shadow Drapion, how many Chestnut make an appearance at Dortmund and Joinville respectively. My top core breaker pick is actually going to be Toxapex for this weekend. So keep an eye out for that Pokemon, as I like to call it, the Kraken. All right, toss to casters to talk about the next game.
Hey everybody, my name's Zoinks and I'm a commentator on the Pokemon Unite Championship Series, and I wanted to give you a bit of an update of what's going on in the game recently. Now, I know Spraggles talked to you in Amanda's last video about a lot of cool things. We had a new Pokemon added to the game. We had a brand new patch that changed a bunch. To give you some updates on where the game is at now, I wanted to go with a bit more of a tournament angle. So one thing that Spraggles talked about in the last video was that no longer are EX Pokemon existing in our game. A lot of the legendaries had this EX tag on them, and there were some restrictions on how many you could pick and whether you could play them in ranked or not. Well, since that has now been removed, EX Pokemon have now been welcome to play in tournaments in the grassroots scene, and they've been doing quite well. Mewtwo and Zacian both have had kind of, I would say, slow starts to the competitive force, but Ho-Oh has become almost a permanent ban right now. That Res Unite move is just incredibly strong in coordinated play, and I would say Miraidon has definitely the aura of strength, is extremely strong, but it's not quite found the results that I think a lot of people would have expected it to have, but people might still be discovering how to play this Pokemon. Next big news is the Championship Series. Right now we are in the off season. I know every other title gets to start doing regionals and special events, but we have to wait until November when we kick things off at LAIC. But a few things have changed in the Championship Series. One, now championship points are awarded per team and not per player, so you'll be able to cheer on teams throughout the year a little bit better if you're a fan of the Championship Series. And then a few other changes have been happening across the board for some of the rulebooks, biggest of which is that Pokemon Unite is going to be at LAIC. I cannot wait. That crowd is just famous for being loud and high energy, and Unite loves that stuff, so I can't wait to see that. Now, the one piece of news has got a lot of people excited, some people not so excited. There's a new tier of Hollowware coming out. So formerly, it was just the green, blue, and purple tiers of Hollowware, with each with their own varying and rising level of price. There's going to be a brand new one. It'll be event-specific. It'll be coming for Sylveon. The Hollowware looks amazing. You got knockout effects, score animations, recall animations, all that good stuff with this like crystalline flower kind of look. It looks great, but the big question is going to be how much is it going to cost in terms of gems and things like that. So keep an eye out on this space to learn a little bit more about that. And the final thing is pretty exciting. We get a new battle item added in this week in a Pokemon Unite. Battle items are things like eject button, potion, X attack, X speed, things like that. So something that any Pokemon can equip. It's a goal zone hacker, I believe, is what the translation of the item has been called for some time now. I don't know if that'll be the official name, but when you use the goal zone hacker on your own goal zone, it'll increase the amount of healing you get from a goal zone. And if you use it on an enemy goal zone, it will negate the healing effect that enemies could receive from their goal zone. So now, all of a sudden, sieging goal zones, as we call it, will be a lot easier. It'll allow for some really creative decisions, specifically in team fights. The only question marks I think I have around this item are what Pokemon on a team is going to use it. Is it your support? Is it your tank? And is it really going to be better than an eject button? There's a lot to find out. Either way, a new toy to play with is always exciting. Okay, Amanda, back to you.
Hey everyone, Scarzig here to give you a quick update about what's going on in the Pokemon TCG space. We've just got our new expansion, Stellar Crown, which will be legal for tournaments in the upcoming Louisville Regional Championship. The set has Terapagos EX, which is kind of the new flagship Pokemon, of course, and the mechanic of being able to go all the way from 5 bench Pokemon to 8 bench Pokemon is making its return, so players are very excited to test for that. But based on the results from the Baltimore Regional Championships, where the set was not yet tournament legal, we did see some success from Gardevoir EX, a deck that players thought was completely down and out and had no means of staying relevant throughout the end of the previous format and into this one. Regidrago V-Star remains the deck to beat, it seems, by popular opinion. But there was also some interesting new control builds coming into the game, so I think it's going to throw a big wrench into the testing and preparation that players have made heading into the Stellar Crown format. Furthermore, that Louisville Regional Championship, where this set will be legal, is October 12th and 13th. Furthermore, Pokemon TCG also has a new mobile version coming out soon. It's Pokemon trading card game Pocket. You might have seen some of the trailers for it. You might have heard about the special demo they had at the World Championships in Honolulu. And the soft launch for this mobile app, generally developers will do a release of a new app just in a smaller area of the world so they can finish testing some bugs and just seeing to make sure everything goes smoothly before a global launch. So the soft launch for TCG Pocket is going to be on September 26th. So check that out. The full release will be at the end of October, if I'm remembering correctly. But a lot of exciting stuff on the horizon for Pokemon TCG, certainly.
Well, hello trainers, fancy seeing you here. Charlie Merriman, otherwise known as Chazingdra, merry by name, merry by nature, and it's time to take you through the VG news from this week. So, we came off the back of the Baltimore Regional Championships last weekend, but this previous weekend, 20th to the 22nd of September, it was the first ever Grand Challenge, an online tournament, best of one closed team sheet. Now, whereas it was the first ever Grand Challenge, very similar to global challenges, and that's something we have seen more of previously in Pokemon VG. The only difference between Global Challenge and Grand Challenge is for trainers in championship point earning regions. So we have Grand Challenges in September just gone, October, December and May, and then January through April there'll be Global Challenges for everyone in the world to participate in. But this previous weekend, in the first Grand Challenge, coming off the back of Baltimore, we saw a lot of Archaladon Rain. Now, this is a composition that won the Baltimore Regional Championships, piloted by Nicholas Morales. First regional championships ever attended, by the way. Absolutely phenomenal achievement. Archaladon was everywhere, and there are a few reasons why it's good in the current format Regulation Set H, one of which is its stamina ability. It gets a defense boost from any hit that it takes, and that stacks with its body press move that deals damage based on its defenses rather than its attack, so it can snowball very quickly. The reason why you want to run Archaladon in the rain is because it has access to a move Electroshot. Now that goes off in one turn if it is raining, as well as giving it a special attack boost that takes 2 turns outside of the rain. And yet, it wasn't Archaladon Rain that won the Grand Challenge this past weekend. It was, in fact, a Porygon 2, a Moongus, Incineroar, of course, Dragapult, Blood Moon, Ursaluna, and Sneasler team, piloted by Nick Navarre. So huge congratulations to Nick. I want to highlight as well what I said just before about it being best of 1 closed team sheet. So normally in our regional championships and any in-person tournament that we've seen in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, it's best of 3 open team sheets. But open team sheet, crucially, means that ordinarily the opposing Pokemon's moves, ability, held items, and Terra type are fully visible to the opponent. So you go in with a lot more knowledge than you would be able to have in best of 1 closed team sheet that the Grand Challenge is. The way it works in the Grand Challenge is you get into team preview, a minute and a half or so, and all you're presented with is your opponent's 6 Pokemon. So you've got to make decisions based on that. That means that you could run 6 Pokemon that look very standard in Regulation Set H, but actually have a lot of tricks up their sleeve, like Protect on Incineroar, for example. All bets are off. And you've really got to keep your wits about you because, take it from me, anything is possible. So it's such an exciting tournament to be a part of. And of course, Regulation Set H, the power level is overall lower. There are no legendaries allowed in Regulation Set H. I, for example, was running my favourite Pokemon behind me just here. Kingdra, let's go. We don't need to talk about how well or not the Grand Challenge went for me, but it was a lot of fun to run Kingdra, and there are just so many Pokemon that are viable now that might not have been in previous formats where the overall power level has been higher. And that takes us into the coming weekend, where we have not only the Dortmund Regional Championships, but also the Joinville Regional Championships happening in Brazil. So this is in the EU for Dortmund. This is our first regional level event in the new season and in the Regulation Set H format. Same for Latin America for Brazil. Now, what's generally said is that in NA, the playstyle tends to be more fast and hard offense, whereas in EU, it's more pivoting your pieces around, getting them in the right position, dealing a little bit of chip damage here and there, and then striking when the time is right. Only time will tell if that will be the case heading into Dortmund. And then, of course, what with Joinville as well, there'll be the Latin America take on Regulation Set H and the 2025 season, so it'll be fascinating to see what groundwork is laid. Now, I mentioned that Sneasler won the Grand Challenge, piloted by Nick Navarre, 2-time regional champion in the NA region. I want to highlight that Pokemon in Regulation Set H. It has a move Dire Claw, which is quite powerful already, but then it has a chance to poison, sleep, or paralyze your Pokemon when that move connects. Random chance for any one of those status conditions, but it really can turn a losing position into a winning one. So it's one that we all have our eyes on in Regulation Set H, and it's one that as soon as you see it in Team Preview, I know I want to remove it from the field as quickly as I possibly can. So that's something that everyone needs to keep their wits about them for. And so overall, of course, it's a very exciting time. What with Baltimore last weekend, the Grand Challenge in the weekend just gone, Dortmund and Joinville coming up this coming weekend. Feels like the first offerings from different regions and, of course, different formats of tournament. And from there, we'll see how Regulation Set H develops, and we are playing this format basically until the end of this year, 2024. So there you have it, trainers. Thanks for joining me on this whistle-stop tour of the VG News this week. Hope you have a very merry rest of your week, and do yourselves a favour, keep an eye out for those Sneaslers.